Hello, we are now officially recording the very first PSA Midlands, Ireland, Scotland, and we've got Thames Valley, we've got people here from the Midland, from Northwest, lots of people here who are joining Tracy down here somewhere for her Midlands group live PSA. So Tracy, what's been happening there in the Midlands?
All right, so we've just had a showcase from Harry Kalimnikos, who comes from PSA London. Members of the PSA and visitors have all given marvellous feedback, and thanks to Todd, Matt and Chris, we are actually online now, where we weren't before because my technical knowledge, not so good. And now we're just here to listen to what you have to tell us about Blab. Hi Stuart, hi Mark.
Hi Tracy. Can I just say I've just started watching The Martian. They had less technical problems than we're having.
Very nice.
Very true. And actually, one thing that you'll see me doing is, because I've got my external microphone and I know that this is being recorded, anytime that I'm listening to one of you guys speaking, I'm actually reaching over and turning down my microphone to stop in the recording the feedback of your voices coming through from my laptop over here and hearing the double echo. Because I'm learning like you guys are. I'm only on week 5 this Friday of my weekly Blab. But I've been watching the guys from Blab Nation. I'm going to put it into the message box here. Go and have a look at some of the Blab Nation Blabs. And those guys are a collection of really good people on Blab. Hashtag Blab Nation, and at Jonathan Tripp. He is one of the leaders of Blab Nation. Get connected with these guys because they've actually got a private Facebook group as well. And it's a brilliant place to be able to go. There's a lot of professional speakers. There's a lot of people who are involved in leaders in their field, in social media, people who started blabbing before everybody else did. So their Facebook group is a fantastic group. If you can get invited into it, it's definitely worth getting an invite. So I'm trying to post this up for you now. So you can see that there. But you will need to connect in with them on Blabs Live and watch and comment at the sides before you can kind of get in there.
Sorry to interrupt you, Lottie. I'm just curious, what can everybody in Midlands see? Can they see the messages going up on slide, Tracy?
They can see this.
So there we are.
So they can see our message screen and our people screen.
Right. So what I was going to do is just ask if people want to ask questions, what's what, and then we can go through what something is, how it works. So Tracy, if anybody has any questions there.
I screwed things up.
We've lost Mark. We have lost Mark. And we've just lost Tracy as well. Well, look, I don't know whether you guys can hear me. So what I'll do is, Stuart, how are you using...
I can still hear you.
Oh, he's back. Open the seat. The seat is open for Mark to come back in. Thank you, Sarah. Stuart, how are you, have you been watching many Blabs at all?
No, not really. I've seen a couple from Terry Brock.
Yep.
If you don't know who Terry Brock is, follow him. He is a god amongst men. And he looks like Elmer Fudd, and I have told him that. But it's fantastic. He's really good.
Yeah.
And he's just finger on the pulse of all things all this techie stuff. But I've only had maybe 2 blabs so far, with one with the committee, my committee team last week, which really consists of Mel Sherwood and Scott Johnson. Mm-hmm. Scott couldn't get his camera working, so it was just Mel and I, and it was good just because we had a couple of things to talk about before our event. Ideally, I prefer face-to-face meetings, as a lot of people do.
Yeah.
It may do, but because Scott couldn't get involved, and we had like a 2.5 week conversation, which was
getting a bit closer. Much just.
Thank you. Hello, we're here again.
Yeah, hi.
Could you hear us chatting then?
Yeah, we were just chatting. Stuart was just sharing how he's been using Blab.
Cool.
But I suppose a couple of things to point out, key things for anybody who hasn't seen it beforehand. Tracy, if you scroll through the messages, you can actually scroll up and down through the messages on the right-hand side. When you are live on a Blab, you can actually go back and check through the messages. And what you'll see at the very top is you can actually if you subscribe to a Blab, you can start pre-messaging people. And you can start pre-posting links to certain items that you might be discussing during the Blab. You can also then start picking up some questions if people have asked you questions that you want to answer in your Blab, which is really useful. So you can see that Stuart was there earlier, and I said I'll be on at 7:45. There's also a link to my Blab where people can come and join me on my Blab link there as well. And if you go back, you can see all of the links and everything that can set up your Blab for you. And Stuart was just talking about having a chat with Terry Brock on Blab. He actually he jumped onto my Friday Blab last week talking about why be seen on screen and why it's so important. He's one of the Hall of Fame speakers in National Speakers Association, so he's well worth checking out. terrybrock.com.
I'm putting,
Stuart, what are you doing?
You can't even see it. I'm putting my.
Stuart's playing.
I'm just playing. I'm playing. I don't know why I'm trying to show you what's underneath this. I'm just putting my my
small earthquake in Edinburgh.
It must know you're coming.
Megan, I recognise the voice.
Yeah, there we go.
Brilliant.
Right.
But for those of you in PSA Midlands who haven't seen the little hand claps that you'll see here, those are like in Periscope, the love hearts. As you see, Sarah, thank you very much. Sarah is giving me some claps here. That's what you click on, and thank you very much, Tracy, for that. The more you click on that, the quicker the number goes up here. So if I click quickly on Tracy there, so if you really love what people are saying, then you can click and give them the kudos. And it says click to give props. So one click is just, that was okay. If you can simply listen to Blab, but if you want to get involved and you want to connect and make a better connection with the speakers who are there at the other end, especially with people, other international speakers, a lot of our friends and colleagues in NSA are using Blab quite regularly. Neen James, she's another great Blabber. Gina Schreck, she's on there. Gina Carr, who also who wrote your Why Clout Matters with Terry Brock. She's on here quite regularly. So there's a whole wonderful group of really good speakers who are here. But by giving the kudos and by getting involved in the chat box on either side, that's how you start to build connections. And I literally, as I do my Blabs, I've connected with various people and started collecting tools. So one of my on-camera Blab friends sent me this Blab show planner so that you can actually start writing out what comments you want to make. And then on the back of these, I've started gathering people's Twitter handles as to who's involved in youth education or who's involved in getting on camera, who's involved in doing a lot of regular Blabs, and who are the people that I want to connect with as a speaker. So that's one really good thing that you can do for yourself. So Stuart, that might help you guys to just connect a bit more with using yours, and that's how you build your audience too.
Lottie, what is it that determines that it's the four of us whose pictures are on screen at the moment and not Sarah's, for example?
Okay, there are very good, very, very good question. Now, if you want to write a question and type something like that, as Sarah's just saying, if you type a / and then a Q and then space, you do, this is how we type a question. And now what will happen, if you look in the message box here, the / comes up blue on one side, then it appears on the opposite side of the screen as a question. Yeah. Now, if you can only ever have 4 people on screen at any one time.
Right.
So Stuart, can I kick you out so I can do a demo, please, of the how you can answer questions? So I'll say Bye to Stuart. Thanks very much for joining us, because it's nearly 8 o'clock as well. So thanks to Stuart. I've just had a message saying kick. So yeah, I'm kicking Stuart. Now what I can do is it should appear on your screen as either, or if you see on the big screen, either open seat, or I've got on my screen lock seat. If I want to use this seat, open seat, to answer the questions, I go to the opposite side where the questions have come up in the white on when I'm looking, the left-hand side, and I can see a box saying answer question. So by clicking on the answer question box, that then appears in the free box that you have. Once you've answered that question, and Tracy's got a question here saying, hey?
I was just demonstrating the question and asking format.
Then you can answer, put the questions in there. And Sarah's coming in. Sarah, I think you're giving us so many fantastic tips in here. Look, she's got four top tips. So I'm going to see if Sarah's going to. Are you camera ready? Hashtag camera ready, Sarah. By the way, being camera ready doesn't necessarily mean having a fabulous backdrop and a face all done. I made the decision the other day that, okay, as a professional speaker, you want to look your best when you're going on to do your own blabs. But actually being camera ready is simply having the guts to do this and to get on screen and then to talk to the camera and talk through the camera. So Sarah is coming in. Hooray, Sarah. Part of the reason I want Sarah to come in here is tip number 1. Click to give the props. Tip number 2, Sarah, hello.
Hello.
Joining us from PSA Northwest. Sarah, read out your tips, please. You got to tip number 2.
Oh, so I've done about 7 now. So tip number 1 was click to give props because it gets you noticed, particularly if you're joining other people's blabs, because it helps people to notice that you're listening and everything else. Thank you, Richard. The second thing is to use the chat box before you start to get unanswered questions, which is what you were saying, Lottie.
Yeah.
Make sure that you go back and look at your recordings to check the Twitter handles of the people who've actually been engaging with you, because there's too much to do when you're actually on the screen to do that. So try and keep a record or go back and have a look at it. Talk to them if they're not used to blab about how to ask questions, and use a spare seat to answer them, because then you can actually focus on the question, because it can be a bit distracting because most people aren't used to having live chat, questions and 4 pictures at once. Fifth thing is if you're trying to use a microphone, I've got one of these. It's a bit blowy sometimes, but if you haven't, then like Lottie said, put it on mute so you don't get too much feedback, because it can be really distracting, particularly on the recordings. Use a free seat to answer questions. Ideally, have someone there who can do some typing while you're talking, because otherwise Lottie's not facing the screen. If she's looking at the questions, she's not looking at and providing eye contact. Eye contact's really useful. So if you can have a helpful person, or you can agree that when you're talking, the other person typing, it really helps. Yeah. And then, yeah, that's where I'd got to.
And I think the other thing, Sarah, that kind of brings this all together, seeing all of your comments down at the side there, what I've gone back and done, you might be able to see, Tracy and the team there, that there's a little star. If we look at tip number 7 of Sarah's comment, can you see the little star there? If you click on that, that means from your end, you can see there's one there. If you click on it again, Tracy, your end, then that should add a number 2. And that means that you like what Sarah's just said. You can also then click on the reply button, and down at the bottom in the messages, what will happen is it will automatically enter Sarah's 500-word lawyer to reply direct. So I'm typing at the same time. Use the arrow and enter. Then that way you can actually have the interaction. Now, you guys, while watching, can be having this conversation going on at the side. But this is the number one rule that's been happening in Blab recently is, yes, engage in a conversation when it is relevant to the topic that is being discussed today. But if you want to have a private conversation, there's a really quick way that if you're following somebody in Blab, if you go to the very top here, you'll see the circles. of people who are actually on the blab at any one time. And Tracy, if you roll over them now so you can demonstrate it. If you roll over, let's go to who's just joined us there. Richard Tubb. Hello, Richard Tubb. I don't know Tubb blog, but you're on there. Hello. Is he with you, Tracy? Right.
He is, yeah. He's hang on.
He's over there. Fantastic.
Where are you, Rich?
He's on his iPhone.
There.
Hello, Richard. Well, look, what I can do if I can actually find a box, when I scroll over your name at the top, I can click follow. So I follow you in Blab. But then can you see, Tracy, can you point out the little Tweety bird there? If you click on that will take you directly out of Blab. And then you can follow immediately in Twitter. So what that means is you don't necessarily have to keep having a private conversation in the chat room, because you can go and tweet them and DM them in Twitter rather than wasting people's time here. Okay. So we're getting, and great, fantastic. See what Sarah's doing. She's doing a lot more tips in the conversation, giving people help there. When we press the stop recording at the end of this session, I've actually got on my end to my left-hand side, because I was the host, I had a box saying record or pause recording, and I can stop and start that whenever I want. And at the end of the recording, we've actually then got a link that we can post directly to YouTube. And I put that at the beginning of the messages, the information, how you can do that there. But the other thing that's always great for people is very few people are going to ask you to share when they're on Blab. And please don't. It's kind of, you mention it at the beginning. Yes, go on. You can share by doing it via Twitter, or you can share on Facebook, and it automatically creates a tweet. So what I'm going to do is I've just clicked on the tweet there. You can do the same thing, Tracy, so the guys can see at your end. And it just says Blab live testing demo with PSA Midlands professional speaking. And it's also got 500-word lawyer as well. So I post that tweet. That has now gone straight to my Twitter page. Okay. Now, Stuart, I'm just going to, Mark, before I let you back in here, I'm just going to answer Stuart's question. Stuart Harris has said, can you screen share as per Skype and Google+? No, it doesn't really work. You can. I have seen people kind of doing this sort of thing and holding phones up, but you don't really get to screen share. If you want to screen share and have a private message, then where you go to, I'm going to type it in now, is www.appear.in is a new tool that allows you to basically do exactly as we're doing here in Blab, but it is only for 8 people and it's private. So you guys, when you have your break, might want to go and play around in Appear In. And then you can send people a direct message saying, come and join me in an Appear In room. But it's not public, whereas right now we're all public. So be aware that, yes, even when, as Sarah's sitting there typing away for us, and as Tracy, you can see on screen there, we are all on screen, and we are on screen right now all the time. Hence the conversation that I'm having through the camera lens, rather than spending the whole time talking at you, but actually looking down here at the screen. Now, let me just see one more. I think there's one more question here from Stuart. Have we got time, Tracy? I know we started late.
We've got a couple of minutes.
Let's have a look and see if I can get Stuart's other question up here. Let's lock that seat off. Oh, no, for some reason, my scrolling is not letting me scroll now down to get Stuart's question up on screen. But Stuart says...
Stuart's other question was about, are you comfortable and brave enough to use this professionally yet?
I did that without moving my lips. It's very impressive, wasn't it?
The ventriloquist acts in PSA Midlands are going classic. We know what's going to happen on comedy night now.
It's my new thing, my new niche.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not doing personal training anymore. I'm going to do ventriloquism.
Brilliant.
Sorry.
With the dog and everything. I met Tracy's beautiful dogs today. Yeah. So Stuart's other question is, I think a lot of it is simply have a go, watch people doing some blabs, see, as usual, the old professional speaking motto, take the best, leave the rest. So see what you like. The way I present might not be the energy that you like for you. But the one thing, the way other people do it, you may go, yeah, I can use that, but I don't want to, no, this person uses too many hands. This person is too much movement. There's too much energy here. There's too much of everything. You can bring it down, but do remember that we are now 2D. Live on stage, you're 3D. But you have actually lost immediately 30% of your energy simply by talking through the camera lens here. So for those that I was talking to at Mega, that's a key message, is that, yes, this is only 2D, not 3D. You can't do your massive stage presence that you have on a big stage here. And this is the difference that I'll be coming and chatting with you guys next month in Midlands. Yay! Road trip.
Okay.
And we'll be talking and getting you guys up, having a go. So if you haven't got the confidence yet, get up and have a go. Do some of these. Set up some tests with some of your mates. Let's do some more PSA fun ones as socials. And then that way people can appear on screen. So I wanted to ask Sarah, like, you're obviously using Blab quite a lot. What best results are you getting from it, and how's it working for you as a speaker?
So I did my first Blab with Cindy Michelle Waterfield, and we were talking about rookie mistakes for conference organisers. Really useful, because I've organised conferences. I've obviously spoken, been in an audience. We got really good feedback from the people, and she said actually she had some people who came to all her things, and if they thought you were talking nonsense, they would really butt in. So it's much more immediate. Anyone can join. So I was doing a prep for a Blab that I'm doing on Thursday on contracts, and some bloke from Australia was helping us because he happened to be there, and we were having technical issues, a bit like you, Tracy. So it's very immediate. It can go a bit off track, but what I found is that you can just chat. It's much less formal. It means if somebody wants to come in who has nothing to do with it, they can pop in, see whether you're okay, find out what they want to know about you, leave. So, I think it's just another way of engaging with people. And if you look good on camera and you don't look like a fool, then that's, pretty much the bar.
But I think that's one of the conversations that I've been having with loads of people, especially with the confidence on camera side of things, is that people think if you don't look good on camera, there's some people, Roy Montero, he appears as, he's known as the voice of Blab, because he wasn't comfortable with himself, but he's still got his little icon of his face. You can see what he looks like, but he's a radio presenter, so he knows how to use his voice. And his whole motto of how he trains people is, if you can trust my voice, you can trust me. That's his way of working. So you find your way of what you need to do.
Yeah.
But please remember that confidence and looking good on screen are all totally perception. So get that judgment devil off that shoulder and go, perception. What do people want or need from me to do this? And as Sarah was saying, it's simply have a chat with people, really. And if you can, when you learn then to hold this camera lens here without doing the scary faces and the scary eyes, and laughing at yourself and going, that all went wrong. It really doesn't matter, because this is live, and technical hitches and glitches do happen. So hopefully, Tracy, cool. That gives you guys some tips. Have you got any questions from you guys that you want to know about right now, or that we can help you with?
Questions? Anyone?
Come on, somebody. Who's going to get on screen?
Chris. Chris is coming round. Come sit with me.
Hey, Chris.
This is Chris.
Hello, Chris. How you going?
I can see.
Great to see you.
Not so bad, thanks. I can see in the corner of the screen that the product's still in beta phase. So has there been lots of changes in the times that you've been using it?
Things that Sarah, I don't know what you've noticed, but things that I've noticed are, first of all, when you do type in the message box, things like the /Q, if I want to just message Sarah and I type in the @ and the 5, then if you type in the @ box, so if you guys were here and somebody goes to your message box and types in @ you can see every single person who's currently in the blab, and you'll see their whole list. So if I want to send a message to Sarah, so 500 word message sent, and click on it, you'll see that that's appearing. But it actually enables you to just message those one or two people directly. It's just another way of doing the reply button that I spoke about before. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the other main things are at the top again here, by all these people that I mentioned before, where you can either see, you can follow them and blab in the drop down. Do all make sure that you've got a few lines written about yourself in Twitter, because this is taken from Twitter. You can edit it in Blab, but it's great to be able to see now. You'll see the two people, the two heads, and it says number 18, and then there's an I and number 8. That means 18 people have watched us so far or joined us somewhere in the Blab, but 8 people are currently watching. And where in the world they are, if you go to the opposite corner at the top, on the top right of the screen, it looks like a little black box, but actually, if you move it around, you'll see that there's green blobs in Ireland and in the UK, but you'll see the purple blob. That's actually somebody who's watching us in America, who's joined us from America. So
we just have a black screen.
Joining us.
Don't know why, but we don't have that.
Oh, you can't see that on your...
I saw that. No. It's just got a black screen.
Still a black screen.
Black screen.
Right.
Yeah. No world map for us.
Well, when you host one, hopefully yourself, you'll be able to say that. Sarah, can you see the world map?
Cool.
Yep, I can.
You can.
I don't know.
Okay.
I just did. Yes, you can hear me. I'd forgotten.
and actually, really good point of Sarah's earlier is, even if you're still sitting in the seat, yes, you are still on camera. So none of that or this or suddenly disappearing and going like that to anybody, because you are still on camera.
I have seen that.
But the joy is that you actually only need to do the top half, because it doesn't matter if you're not wearing your performance pants, as Mel Goodrich was saying at the Big Fat Quiz of the Year.
Well, on that note, I think we might have to go and get coffee and just check out everyone's performance pants in the room. Thank you, Lottie.
Well,
thank you, Sarah,
for joining us, and to everybody else who popped in tonight. It's been fantastic. And as you see, technical glitches happen, but I think the nice thing with Blab is that you can simply get on eventually, and you simply have good fun and have a nice chat. So I will save this. It'll be on my YouTube channel. There is one tool that we're going to have to talk about when I come over, because I haven't got it connected to my website, but it's live press, simply live press. And that is a way, it's the latest and newest way, that if you have a WordPress site, that you can, I'm just trying to type it up at the same time as I'm telling you, that you can save the conversation. Simple live press, or it's either simple live press or simply live press, that you can save the conversation, because what you'll see in the video on YouTube is it's only what you see on screen here. You lose the conversation, but what happens in the Blab later on, it'll save into my Blab hosting section for a few weeks, and then I can actually go back and see who was there. So it's really good when you start doing your own, because that's how you start building your connections. And you simply join all of those people, and then you let them all know whenever you're on Blab. So that's how you build your communities and build your tribe even more.
Yep.
So.
Cool.
Oh,
all right. So I reckon we're all going to go home and
give that a go. And before we do, we have to say hello to Zefsan, who is amazing West Coast of America. Zefsan, this is my tribe. This is my professional speaking tribe. We've got the Midlands here, and we've got people from northwest of England here having first go. And Zefsan's just gone, ha, 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 ha. But she's fab. So, guys, go and watch her. She's a wonderful speaker.
Cool.
And thank you to PSA Midlands. And I'm really looking forward to coming and seeing you and getting you guys on screen next month.
We're looking forward to it as well. Thanks,
Take
Lottie.
care.
Thanks.
I'll stop the recording.
Okay, guys. See you, Sarah.